It's that time again. What's up, everybody? This is Dads Lads Kebabs. Hope you enjoy the show. Deuces.
Boom, good evening, good morning, boys and girls, good afternoon. Welcome to another fantastic show of Dads Lads Kebabs. And we got a treat for you. Mickey, how are you doing, sir?
I'm alright. I got a sore head. I dropped a solar box board on my face today after our funeral, and it's all fucking red.
Shit.
Took my skin off. It fucking hurt.
You're old, mate. You can't be doing that shit anymore. You're old.
I'm too weak to lift a 40 kilo fucking... Everything's 40 kilo.
40 kilo.
But yeah, I'm good. It's hot. Good. It's cooling down, so I'm happy.
I'm okay. I'm temperature fluctuating. I'm fine. Last night I slept like a dream.
It was cold last night.
I was doing all right. Last night, no fans, no aircon.
Ooh.
Windows. We had the windows open. That was it. But that was fine. Boys and girls, we've got a treat for you this afternoon. We have got TikTok royalty in the house. And we're going to be discussing some great topics. So stay tuned. Listen, without further ado, bring in Stu. Hey!
Bring in Stu. There he is. Hello,
Good afternoon, lads. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, mate. Very good indeed. Just finished work. Just sitting down, having a chill. So yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Literally every bloke's dream, isn't it? That's literally what we live for. That's
it. I'm sat in a house on my own with a dog. You can't live for anything more than that, can you?
Mate, the only thing that topped that off is you having like turkey Twizzlers for dinner.
Yeah, I've not got to that level yet. I'm working on that.
That's fine.
He's on the beans on toast at the moment.
yeah. Bit of cheese on top. You know how it is.
That's the best dish. I don't care what people say. For me, that's one of my favourite dishes.
It is. It's one of my go-tos, to be fair.
You can give me all the food in the world, but honestly, I always go back to meat on toast. Especially when I'm on my own. When I'm on my own, I'm like, right, beans and toast and cheese.
That's it. I went to IB for a couple of weeks ago and I spent that much money. I was like, right, rest of the month is beans on toast and cheese for dinner until I get paid again. I'm like, kids, this is what we're eating.
This is gourmet in some countries, you know.
Yeah, I spent €26 on a vodka and Red Bull, and I had 8 of them. So this is what we're having for a week.
Wow, okay, now he's
God,
on it.
I don't remember the last time I had a vodka Red Bull.
Oh mate,
Jesus!
It's my I love it when I'm out. I don't love it when I wake up, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's my go-to drink after I've finished it on beers, vodka and Red Bulls. But I can. It doesn't feel like I'm drinking. It's just like I'm drinking Red Bull all night, so obviously it just keeps you going, doesn't it? So it's like you get home and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. You think, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm 43 years old. Just sort your life out, you know.
We've all had those conversations with ourselves, though. That's the worst conversation. The morning after, just basically saying, "You're a fucking loser. Look at yourself." Yeah.
I went to IB. There was 8 of us. I was the oldest out of the 8, and I reckon we were there for 4 nights. I reckon 3 of the 4 nights I'd quit drinking. I was like, I'm not drinking again today. That's it. I'm done. I'm not drinking. And then someone would hand me a beer in the afternoon, all in. Go on then, just the one will do, and then it'll be like, right, I'm not doing shots. I'm not doing shots tonight. I'll have a few beers, but I'm not doing shots, and that's it. Shots. Yeah, so I think 3 days out of the 4, I was like, that's it. I'm giving up drinking. I'm not going out tonight. That's it. Night before we went home, we got in at 5:30 in the morning. We're going home the next day, and it's like, oh my God, here we go, reliving my youth.
Why not? I think there's a time where you've got to relive it.
100%.
We're just getting older. That's all it is.
I love getting old. It's such an easy way of a cop out of I don't want to do that. I'm old. You know, I don't have to do it. I'm past 40. It's okay. You know.
But your brain wants to do it.
No, it don't.
Earlier on, we've got.
I was actually working out, Mickey, earlier on. I was thinking how long we've known each other. It's got to be close to 40 years, I reckon now.
It's definitely lower school.
Lower school and probably preschool. Like, 'cause obviously you're in Mike's year, aren't you? My brother's year at school.
Yeah, I used to come around your house and play, didn't I? Yeah.
So I think you're 45 now. I'm 43. So it's got to be close. It's got to be nearly 40 years, isn't it? It's fucking mental, isn't it?
You just put a thought in my head. Am I 46 or 47 this year? When was I born? 79. Yeah, I'm 45, 46 this year.
Yeah, we're 46 this year, yeah.
How the brain's going. Wow. Yeah, man, it's a long time.
So you know you're old when you've known someone for nearly 40 years, you know, and you're still mates now. It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely 40 years then. That's crazy. How old do you say? 43? Only a couple of years.
I'm 43, yeah.
Wow. And we don't look our age. That's the thing.
Yeah, I feel it sometimes. I know that. Having 3 daughters, trying to keep up with them, and I took the 3 girls away on my own a couple of months back, and I just wanted to sit and do nothing. Do you know when you just want to sit and just do nothing? And they're like, "Dad, what are we doing today? We're doing this." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Can we do? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just go back to the caravan. We'll sit down on the sofa. We'll have a chill for a couple of hours." And they're like, that ain't happening, is it? Like, no, it's not. No, okay, no, that I was only joking. Yeah, we're not doing that. No. And you know, in my head, I'm thinking that's all I want to do. But there you go.
That's what keeps us going. I think that's what keeps us young, though, as well.
I think it is, though. Yeah, to be honest, you're probably right. Yeah.
Because you have no choice but to do it. You know, we get to a point where we just want to sit down and do nothing, and we can all do that.
Yeah.
But you know, you'll never want to take away those memories of going, do you know what, actually, you know, we had a really good day. We could have.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've said to my daughter, like, do you want to sit and watch a film? And she's like, no, don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
That was films were my youth. That was my fun time as a kid, was films. So when I'm trying to put that onto her, and literally, she's like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing gymnastics in the garden, all right? In 36-degree heat. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
It's funny you say that. Last weekend, I was actually doing cartwheels in the garden with my 7-year-old. Yeah. So yeah, it's what we do, isn't it?
It's what we have to do.
Yeah.
But you know, you're getting old. So earlier on, I've got blinds in my kitchen, and one of them fell down. So I had to jump on the kitchen side, and I went to do the whole run up, jump up. I ran up, jumped up, and basically just slapped my thighs on the kitchen side. And I was like, oh. My leg doesn't want to go that high anymore. That's it. I can't do that anymore. I had to get the step out of the cupboard. We've got this little step. I had to get the step out. Oh, I was like, that's it. I'm fucking old now.
You're only in your 30s as well.
I know. But then, look at me. Right? I'm in my 30s, and I don't look much younger than you two.
No, if we had blackbeards instead of salt and pepper.
Look, mine's grey. Mine's just as grey as yours.
Yeah, yours is worse.
I know. It's fucking awful.
It's the top. If you see the top of my head, you'd realise I was old because there's stuff all there. It's like a couple of months ago, I shaved it all off because I was fed up of going to the barbers and then looking at the top of my head, going, "What the fuck are you doing here, mate?" So I shaved it all off, and then my eldest daughter was like, pleaded to me, "Dad, just can you grow your hair back? I don't like you with no hair." But yeah, it's sort of clinging on top at the minute. But I think I'm doing all right. As my brother went bald at about 25, I think. So I'll take a bit of grey and a bit of thinning here, there, and everywhere. So
I know. I embrace it.
So, something I noticed the other day. You know, Niall, sometimes I can't be asked to cut my hair, shave my head, so I leave it like a week or so. Well, it had been just over a week, and I went away at the weekend, and it was mentioned to me that I was going a bit thin. So I asked him to take a photo of the top of my head, because obviously I can't see it. And there is technically hair there, but some bits are very thick, and other bits in the middle bit of the back. And I'm like, oh my God, I will not leave my hair this long again. That's it now. Every few days. I thought I could get away with it, but I can't. And I always say it's a choice. I shave my head. Maybe not so much anymore.
Did no part of you, was it a stranger that said it to you, or was it someone you know?
No, someone I know.
I was going to say, if it was a stranger, some part of me would have wanted to just be like, yeah, I know, it's the medication. And then they'd be like, they would not want to know what to say.
Yeah.
Nah,
I was gonna say,
nah.
but you're thin on top. You're fucking bald. Like, there's no thinner than that. No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't mind when I go bald. That'll be it.
Oh, I
I
choose
mean,
to
Yeah.
shave mine, so
my daughter,
I'm
my
happy.
daughter, my daughter will fucking hate it. But when I go bald, although when I shave the beard off, like my daughter freaks out. She's like, no, you
Yeah.
can't get rid of the beard.
Yeah.
That's people know you
But
with
I
beard.
look like whenever I shave my beard off, I just look like a little fat teenager. So I'm not doing that anymore.
No.
I have to shave it every November. We do Movember at the rugby club, and when you clean shave it and you got no hair, it's like, what the fuck am I doing? You know. And then you have to shave it every day, and your tash is growing ever so slightly. I started a new job actually, so I've been in it nearly 2 years in November, but I started it on like the 8th of November. So my work pass, I've got like an 8-day tash on my work pass.
80s
And it's
porn
like,
star.
oh, don't, it's horrendous. Every time I log on to my computer at work, I just see this tash looking at me, and you think, oh god, I need to get that changed. Yeah,
No. Wow. So obviously we've brought you on today because you are very much an advocate for men's mental health, supporting men
yeah,
in society, etc. So obviously we are Dads Lads Kebabs. We talk a lot of shit about lots of random stuff, but we
yeah,
are always talking about trying to improve men, their mental health, speaking to people.
hmm,
So you do a thing called Dads Supporting Dads at the moment,
yeah.
don't you? What is that actually? What does that involve? If you don't mind talking
So
about that.
yeah, so it become a bit of a TikTok trend about a month ago now.
Okay.
So I'm all over TikTok. I love posting things, and
Yeah.
it's something I wanted to get behind because it's something I've been trying to. It's been something I've been trying to champion for years now through my rugby club. Not just dads, but men in general. Just men
Mm.
getting out there and getting out their comfort zone, talking to each other, and just being there for each other. Because I think society, don't get me wrong, it's hard being an adult, whether you're a man or a woman. But I think men in particular, they sort of they suffer a bit more because they don't have that avenue to let it out as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think the dad supporting dads hashtag is just, and as I say, I went to IB for 2 weeks ago, and that was the epitome of dad supporting dads. All 8 of us were there. We're all dads. We're all away from our kids. We're all got no partners with us. We've got our own time for 4 days, four nights and 5 days. That never happens.
No.
And I said to the lads while we were there, I said, look around, look, and it was, I think it was a day we hired a boat. We hired a boat and went out on a cruise on our own. So it's just the 8 of us in the middle of the sea, our own tunes on. I was like, look, we ain't got a care in the world. This is brilliant. Like, we need to do more of this as men. We need to
Yeah.
get together. The amount of shit we chatted on that boat for 3 hours was unreal. But actually, when you broke it down, some of it was really meaningful stuff. And the more you get together with mates and your bloke mates and whatever, the more people open up together. And it might be that one person opens up about something that they've been struggling with, which then triggers someone else to then open up, because actually, if he's talking about it, I can talk about it now as well. And it's like,
Yeah.
because I think consciously men just think, I shouldn't talk about that. People will think I'm a right pussy or whatever. And it's like, the more people are doing it, the better, because it just becomes norm. It becomes the norm. And it's like, I've been, I don't know, what are we now? Probably 5 years now at my rugby club. I've been the registered mental health first aider through the rugby club.
Okay.
And all that means, it doesn't mean I'm a professional or anything like that, but I'm just a person that somebody can talk to if they've got any issues, and I can point them in the right direction of getting help and stuff like that. It started over lockdown. I mean, obviously lockdown was hard for everyone, weren't it? But I set up a couple of groups for our rugby WhatsApp group, just to go out exercising on our own because it was lockdown. But then we'll set each other challenges. Right, who's going to be the first to get to 20k in regards to walking this week and stuff like that. And we started doing it. And then before you knew it, we'd got 20, 30 lads interacting on WhatsApp about stuff. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. Like, we never do this. And then deeper into lockdown we got, you could then exercise together outside and stuff like that. And I entered us into this competition on online, and it was through a mental health charity called givearuck.co.uk, and it's like a mental health charity partnered with like rugby and stuff like that. And it's to, again, just to promote men's mental health through rugby and things like that. So I entered us into a competition, and it was something random, like teams of 15, like a rugby team, and you get something like 3 points for every 5 kilometers you walk. You get 2 points for every 5 kilometers you run. Cycle, you got X amount, whatever it was. So we started off. There was 20 teams in this competition, and after the first week, we were like second or third in the league, and we were taking it seriously in the fact that we were all getting out and doing miles. I was going out and I was doing like 6 kilometers a day, getting myself like 6 points or whatever it was. But then the more we did it as blokes, we were just like interacting with each other on the WhatsApp group, and the more we did it, the more we wanted to beat each other as well. So it was like, I went out and did 6K. One of my mates went out and did 9K, so we got one more point than I did that week. And I was like, that day, and I was like, right, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to do 12K. And it just escalated, and I'm not even joking. It ended up being, so it was February about 4 years ago. The last week of the challenge, I remember it was horrific. In 7 days, I did 15K. So this is all walking. I did 15K on one day, 18K the next day, 18K the following day, 21K, 21K. Had a rest on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, which was the last day of the challenge, all 8 of us got together and we walked a marathon on the last day.
Wow.
Right. And it was the marathon we did it from you know where the wind hopper is. You've got the Brampton Valley Lane that goes straight to Market Harbour. Basically, we literally walked to Market Harbour and back from midnight till 8 in the morning, right? And we set up a Just Giving page for Mind, and I think we raised about £2.5 grand just on that one walk that we did. So, so you know, that's the sort of thing I started doing. Hold on, my dog's out there going mad. Tyson, come on. So that's the sort of stuff I started doing through the rugby club, just to get people talking and get people through lockdown, really, as well. Just getting that interaction where people are sat in their house doing nothing and whatever else. And then once everything opened up again, it was then become a big thing through the rugby club that actually we've started a good thing here. You know, we've got we've got a WhatsApp group now with so many people in it. There's so many people sharing stuff. There's so many people talking about stuff that we wouldn't normally talk about. So through the Give a Ruck charity, I then organised us to have like a sit and chat with a professional from Give a Ruck, and there was I think there was about 75 people from the club turned up, and it was like an open forum for us just to sit there, go through some stats about mental health, about suicide, about this, about the other. And it was just an open forum for people just to talk. And I was sat there amazed, like, because I was sat there thinking, I've organised this, and we've got about 70 lads in the rugby club sharing stories, and I'm like, this is amazing. You know, this is what I was thinking about doing, and it sort of happened. But now we're like 5 years down the line of doing that. I've still got people that ring me. You know, I've still got people that ring me if they're not feeling good. Like even as close as 2 days ago, I had a phone call from a lad at 11:30 at night saying, "Stu, are you awake?" "Yes, mate. What's up?" "I just need to chat." I was on the phone to him until 1:45 in the morning, just because he was feeling really shit and whatever else. So just having that sort of avenue. But as I said to him, and he's come back to the club, this lad in question, from not playing for 10 years or so. And he said to me, he said, "Look, I've noticed a real change in the club since I've been back. Like, it's quite a safe space, isn't it? Like, a lot of people will sit and chat to you and stuff like that. And it's like, that's what I've tried to create. You know, it's not a rugby club stereotypically. You go in a rugby club and tell somebody you're not feeling good and you're feeling a bit down. People will just normally take the piss out and tell you to get a beer down your neck, you know, whereas we've gone the opposite way round, if that makes sense, which is really good. So So yeah, it's something that I'm really, really passionate about, really, because again, I don't mind talking about it. My cousin, unfortunately, 22 years ago, next week actually took his own life. So it's one of them things that I've been really passionate about, to try and make a difference. Even if I make a difference with one person, it's one of them things that I never want anybody to feel like they have to suffer on their own, and make sure that people always know that there's people there to talk if you need to. So yeah, something that I'm really passionate about, and I think I'll just carry on doing as much as I can do. And as I say, now we're getting a bit older, as we said before. It can be, especially like me and Mickey were talking. We both recently, or over the last sort of couple of years, separated from our partners who we've been with long term. As blokes, you can get lonely based on that. Do you know what I mean? You can go to work in a day, come back home, and there's no one that you're actually going to interact with. So having that dad supported dads thing that we're doing, there's so many people online on TikTok, especially like since I've been using it, that are reaching out and sending messages to people you don't even know. If you see a post of someone, yeah, you don't even know them, but actually they're sending you encouraging messages for in the day, and
it reaches you.
Yeah, it does. And some days you can think, oh, I'm having a right shit day today, and someone will send you something on TikTok, and it's like, actually, yeah, that's fucking just lifted me a little bit, actually, and it's like, it's the silly things like that, and it's such an easy thing to do, and especially on TikTok now as well. I don't know how much you guys use TikTok, but like, if you get
too much,
you get a decent, get a decent following and get on the creator fund and stuff like that, you can start earning money off it as well. And this is some of the things that some of these dads are doing. They're getting into like these affiliate links and stuff like that, all following each other and all like using the same thing. So actually people are starting earning money from it as well. And it's like, we talk about dads struggling, and dads, especially single dads that have to pay maintenance and this, that, and the other. Actually, let's help each other out here. Let's all get together and do the same thing, and we can all actually benefit from it in that way as well. So, yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm never going to be. I don't think I'm ever going to be TikTok famous, viral, or whatever else it is. But
you never know.
You never know. Yeah, I'll do my little bit and see where it gets to. Do you know what I mean? So,
I had a question. So, a thing you just said a minute ago, it was. So I grew up as a kid. I grew up in rugby clubs my entire life.
Yeah.
And when did you because I know that whole dynamic. I know that whole, literally, there were people that used to play for the club like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and they were propping up the bar, miserable as fuck, couldn't play anymore. But yet you could see they were miserable. And that dynamic shift, when did you see that? When you introduced this, did you see that shift of being that old, let's just get pissed, forget about life mentality? Did you see the shift?
Yeah, I still see it now. So you get the older boys at the rugby club now in their 60s, and blokes that I played with when I was like 18, 19, they were my age now, but they're now in their 60s, who are very much old school still. So it's like, I remember I was in the club not so long back, and one of them was like, "Oh, Stewie, how you doing, mate? Yeah, how's the old mental health shit going then? All good?" I was like, and do you know anything? Like, he's not converted yet, but he will. But then, and I say to him, "Yeah, it's going well, mate." And he's like, "Many people talking to you," and that. I was like, "Well, yeah, it's confidential, but yeah." I said, "I've spoken to many people over this season." He was like, "Have you really?" Like, he really surprised with like. I was like, yeah. And he was like, what? Fucking hell. Like, and it's
they're interested, though. They're interested.
But that's it. And that's what I was about to say. So, but the fact he's asking me about it, and the fact he's, that's a good thing. Like, he's old school. He's like, and he's probably 70 now. But actually, he's got he's interested in what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the younger lads these days are more in tune with it. So we've got quite a young sort of first, second team and whatever else. People that just out of uni and stuff like that. I think a lot of unis do quite a lot of stuff in regards to mental health and stuff like that as well. So it's more our sort of age group that to tap into, because we're the ones that have grown up in the 80s and 90s that just get on with it and don't talk, So, but there's definitely been a big shift in that, and I think I've been lucky in the fact that quite a few of my close friends have got behind it with me, so we've all been doing it together. So it's not just me trying to talk to people and whatever else. So I think the fact that there's been quite a good take on it, and other rugby clubs are doing the same thing now as well. I've spoke to a couple of lads from other rugby clubs, and they're doing promoting the same sorts of things as well. Because, as I say, I think last season alone, I know of 2 rugby clubs in Northamptonshire where they had guys taking their own lives last year. So there's still lots and lots of work to be done, but it's on people's minds now, and it's on people's agenda to try and improve, which is the main thing, I think. So it's not exclusive to rugby clubs. It can be anything that us blokes get involved with, even if it's like sat at home online gaming and stuff with loads of people, and as long as you're talking and you're being open and you've got that safe environment, that's the main thing, is the safe environment to be able to talk about what you want to talk about and not feel like you're going to get the piss taken out of you. Don't get me wrong, as rugby players, we take the piss out of each other, whatever, but there's the way of doing it. Do you know what I mean? So, it's work in progress, but I think, the good thing for me, there's definitely, there's been so many people that have said to me things like over the last year or so, we would have never been sat talking about this 5 years ago. So, hats off to you, Stu, what you've created at this club sort of thing. So, we can only go bigger now, and that's what we've been speaking about at the end of last season, going into this season, trying to get more people on board behind it, so we can do more things and get more awareness, I suppose, and other things. I think we're looking at, there's a company, I don't know if you know them, called Loose Heads. They're like a mental health charity, rugby mental health charity as well.
Okay.
I think next year we're trying to partner with them as well. So yeah, just going bigger and better, really, I think. So
yeah,
go on, Mickey.
I was just gonna say, you mentioned TikTok. I think men's perception in the social media environment is getting better, like you say, with these hashtags and these movements, trying to support dads, etc. Because I do think that we are not looked at in the best way in society. I also think that it seems that our feelings, our thoughts aren't at the forefront of people's minds and thinking, because it's just men, they just get on with it. I do 100%. Think, especially for me, in the last 3 years, I have gone through a lot, and I've totally changed my life and changed it for the better. And I can, you take a step back, and you have to take a look at yourself and look at everybody else around you. And I think it's very important to know what you want, know how you want people to perceive you, and just, what am I trying to say is that it's difficult nowadays being a man. I think it's more difficult than ever. Obviously, every year the suicide rates go up. It's so high compared with women. Women virtually never ever take their own life. Men, it's always in their 40s and upwards, around that sort of area and age. And I think social media can help promote it's okay. Like, you get them hoodies and that saying you are enough, and we thank you for being you, etc. And I think, like you say, the stuff that people do on TikTok is really important to change how people think, and that men, we should be cared about and we should be listened to.
It should be an equal playing field, shouldn't it? Which as it's not. It isn't. As you say, as you said there, the last 3 years, you've started again. Your life's been turned, and it's similar to me. Last 18 months, I've had to start from scratch, from the beginning. Yeah. I've gone from living in a house with my children to having them 2 or 3 days a week, and you know, it is fucking difficult. And you know, I'm not afraid to say it. The first sort of 6 months of me being on my own, I fucking cried pretty much every day. You know, and it's like, you know, but I mean, I know myself. And again, I can't remember who it was. One of my mates was like, "How are you coping so well with what's gone on in your life?" I said, "Well, I'm not really." I said, "But I am because I have to. You know, I have to get up for work. I didn't miss a day's work throughout the whole of it, and I have to get up for work. I don't get paid if I don't work, so I have to do it." I said, "But the fact is, I give people advice left, right, and centre. I have done for the last 4 years based on mental health. I know what I've got to do. I've just got to do it. I've just got to get on with it and whatever else." But I can't fault my mates and the lads from the rugby club, my family and whatever else through that, because I was open and honest about how I was feeling. I wasn't afraid of showing my emotions.
No.
And I had people there to help me through it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's the blokes that don't do that don't show their emotions, just bottle it up, and they cry themselves at home, you know, not show other people how you're feeling and stuff. That they're the ones that need the help, because you know it can be fucking lonely at the end of the day. And it's like, if you haven't got that outlet of people putting their arm around you, come for a beer, you know, this, that, and the other, they're just going to be left with their own thoughts and whatever else. But it's because it's one of them. Like, people always, like, you know, stereotypically, people always say, like, if you're struggling, call for help. People will fucking come, whatever. It's not like that. It's the people around people that have got to be the ones that are aware, and you've got to try and notice your mates that, you know, there might be 10 of us that meet up every week. Actually, John's not been here for 2 weeks. Why hasn't he been here for 2 weeks? Hold on. Let me give him a ring, see how he is. Because it's our responsibility then to then get that out of him. Do you know what I mean? It's like, as you say, as men, it is fucking difficult. And you know, and again, these movements online, you know, the TikTok, the Facebook pages and stuff like that, it's brilliant. But it just something needs to change, I think. I don't know. Have you ever seen Daniel O'Reilly's page? You know, Dapper Laughs. Have you seen his?
Dapper. Yeah.
Have you seen his group that he's created on Facebook?
No.
So it's called Men. It's called Men and Their Emotions. It's called, like, abbreviated, MATE, MATE. And he set this up probably, I don't know, year, maybe 18 months. I'm in it 18 months ago. But there's about 52,000 blokes in it now. Okay. And it's basically just a forum just to share stuff. There's loads of people in there just talking about their own situations. Lots of people crying for help because they need it. But there's 52,000 blokes in it. And I'm not even joking. When me and my ex split up, I used that group so much. Not necessarily to post in, but just to read other people's posts and listening to, like, looking at the advice that other people were giving them. And then eventually I did start posting in there myself. And Daniel O'Reilly, like Dapper Laughs, he's in the group and he posts quite frequently in there. And he's actually now got the Men and Their Emotions as a registered charity now as well. And I think he's doing like I think next week or maybe the week after, he's doing a comedy gig, like a stand-up comedy gig. And there's quite a decent lineup, and it's all raising money for this Men and Emotions charity now and stuff like that. So, because he's like, he's obviously he's a comedian, but he's been through like drug and alcohol addiction, and he's now, I think, nearly 2 years clean and stuff like that. And so he's like really on top of promoting, you know, stuff for men and whatever else, which is really good. And say, if you haven't seen it, have a look at it, because it's a really good. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Really good group it is. I say there's lots of, you know, real bad stories in there of people that are struggling and stuff like that. But if you read the comments and you see the amount of support people are getting through that group, it's unbelievable, you know. And he's created that himself, and there's now 53,000 people on it. So yeah, I mean, there are things going on.
There's so much out there, and I think when lockdown first hit, we all became new to TikTok, right? It wasn't just the fucking TikTok dances that we were trying to do in the living room. Some of them were quite emotional videos, and I remember. So obviously, every video that I like on TikTok, now and again, I'll scroll back all the way to the beginning of lockdown and see what
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of videos I was liking back then.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember there was a pattern where it was just basically just lonely fucking videos of basically just
Yeah.
sort of not self-loathing, but just kind of shit. That's kind of hit the nail on the head for me. So I'd like that video, and I'd like movie quotes and things like that.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, what I started to realize is that TikTok became a safe space for people that didn't feel like they were in a safe space. So, like I said, through lockdown, if you were, if you was at home and feeling, even if you've got a partner, no matter what, or if you're feeling some type of way, TikTok became this place where it's like, oh, he gets what I'm saying, or and I'm going to comment on that. And I think that's where it became a safe space for people to just say, do you know what, I am feeling like this. Then people started making their own videos, and then one video came on my feed the other day, and it was basically, it's very, like you said, it's a very similar situation. Bloke starting again, split up with his missus, he's got kids, he had 2 kids, and he was basically showing how impossible it is for a bloke to walk out of a family home and basically try and start again. He got kicked out, his missus kicked him out, they bought their house, they own their house, and he was like, this is my wages, this is how much I've got, this is how much I owe in maintenance. And he was basically scrolling through Rightmove, looking at where he could live. He's like, I've been in my car for a week now, trying to find anywhere. I've got to pay this maintenance. I've got to pay for this, still pay for the mortgage. And he's like, my wage doesn't even cover that.
Yeah.
And I get why. That moment, in that moment, I was like, that's why some people go to the bridge, because where's the way out? There's no way out from that bit right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was having the conversation I was having with the lad I was speaking to the other night. He's in that exact position at the moment. He is in that position where he's paying for a house that he's not living in, paying maintenance for kids that he don't see. He's going to work 40 hours a week, getting and paying everything out, and he's left with next to nothing at the end of it. And again, he said to me, there's no way out of it. And I was like, there is. I said, there's always a way out of it. At this moment in time, I don't know what it is, but we'll sit down and devise a plan, and what there will be a way out of it at some point. You've got to think that ending it all, it's not a way out of it. That's not an option. We'll sit and work it out and whatever else. But you're right. It's I mean, I'm in a good position in the fact that me and my ex split up. I'm not living in the house and not living with my kids and stuff like that, but financially I'm stable. I've managed to find myself a place to live with a couple of my friends, renting a room, and 2 rooms and a bathroom so the kids can stay. And financially I'm not too bad, but I know that there's so many people in my position that that have separated, that aren't in the position I'm in, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see it. Speaking to this lad the other night, it's I wish I had all the answers for him, but I haven't. Had all the answers for him, but come on, Mike,
Tyson's got something to say.
Tyson's like, hold on, I want to chip in here as well. Come on, mate. He's deaf, so I don't know why I'm talking to him. Come on, get in the garden. That's obviously what you want. Go on. No, I'll go in the garden. He might follow me. So yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because there's no we're all in different situations at the end of the day. So there's no one thing that you can say to someone that makes it all better, is it? That's the thing. No. But yeah, you're right. Like it's one of them that it's always, for some reason, it's always the man has to leave the house. It's always the man that has to leave the kids and this, that, and the other. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think when me and my ex, if I said to the girls, right, mum's leaving and you're staying with me for full time, they'd be like, piss off, Dad, you're going. But it, unfortunately, it is the world that we live in, isn't it? Unfortunately. So,
would you say that there's one topic? Do you have a few topics that comes up quite often in the conversations that you have? Obviously, that being one of them.
I think that's the main one, to be honest. And one of the main things that I talk about. Couple of people that I've been working with are single blokes.
Yeah.
That have drug addictions. Don't necessarily feel they're drug addicts, if that makes sense, but they pretty much are, because they spend all their money on cocaine and stuff like that. And it's like, mate, you've just told me what your problem is, And I think sometimes, like, especially with youngsters, taking drugs on a weekend is just like the norm now, and it's like,
Yeah.
and you wonder why your mental health's messed up. You're spending all your money on this at the weekend, and then got a massive come down on the Monday, and it's like you're wondering why you're getting horrible thoughts in your head and stuff like that. So, obviously that's something I've never been into myself. I've never done that. So it's like, trying to give someone advice on getting off drugs and stuff like that is not really, it's not my expertise, but
No.
but it's more about life decisions and stuff like that. Like, that if you're going out at a weekend and you're going to take something, that's fine, but there's limits, and there's limits that you've got to stick to and stuff. But I mean, but that all stems from somewhere. Obviously, going out and feeling like you have to do that to have a good night, that all stems from somewhere as to why you're doing it.
Yeah, of course.
And I can relate to that in the fact that, again, I've spoke about this a couple of times, but not many, if I'm honest. Back when I was single, back in my early 20s to late 20s, I mean, there was a solid decade where I was single, and I'd go out 3 or 4 nights a week and get absolutely smashed every 4 nights a week. Still have to go work the next day. And again, this subject actually come up on another podcast I did a couple of years ago. It actually made me talk about it for the first time, if that makes sense. And I think at the time, subconsciously, I was doing that because I didn't like myself at the time. So I think going out and getting smashed up, Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, it was in the daytimes I'm working, so that's fine. I've got work, I've got to do that. At night times, it's like I didn't quite like who I was, in the fact that, I think it stemmed a little bit from, like, not being very good at school, not getting a decent job when I left school. Whereas, like, my brother did quite well at school, got a decent job when he left. My sister went to uni, this, that, and the other. I always felt like I was a bit different, a bit of a disappointment, if that makes sense. Always been a bit shit with money, always done this, done that. So I think at the time it was like, didn't quite like my life at the time. So let's just go out and get wrecked, So yeah. I can relate to it in a way that people, like, who are struggling mentally, they want to go out and get off their faces and whatever else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange
because like,
yeah,
I think the alcohol, drugs, gambling,
Yeah.
they all become an outlet. Gambling's such a big one this
Yeah,
days
yeah.
because lonely people are sitting at home, they get their wages by midnight, and by 6 o'clock in the morning it's gone because
Yeah.
they're pissing away their life. And
Yeah.
the thing is, you can see it as that. You can see it as they're throwing everything away, but you don't see what's happening behind it. Is
Yeah.
the people are doing it because they're chasing something.
Yeah, and I read something interesting about gambling, actually, and it said that people that gamble, people that are suffering, as you say, with loneliness and stuff like that, and people that set up gambling and things like that, they actually get more of a buzz of losing than they do winning, because it's like, you never win. This is the thing. Like, you can win a couple, say roulette or blackjack, you can win a couple of hands or a couple of spins or whatever. But when you lose it all, it's then you get that buzz of thinking, I'm going to fucking win it all back. So let's put another 100 quid in, or, and it's right. It's just like drugs and alcohol, gambling. It's like a coping mechanism when you are feeling that shit, because you feel it's something that's going to make you feel better. But they're the worst coping mechanisms you can have, and that's one thing that I learned myself. Coping mechanisms, you've got to find positive ones. Like, so lockdown for me, you know, the best ones I had was getting out and going for walks, getting out and going to the gym, and just stuff like that. Sounds really cliche and whatever else, but
It does, but that's the stuff that actually matters, because people always say that. People get out, go and talk to just go and talk to someone for 10 minutes a day, or you know, go for a walk, go for a run, do something small just to get you out of that funk. Because the moment you step out of your comfort zone, you can't think about your problems. I think the worst thing a bloke can do is sit down. I think sitting down sometimes, especially when you're feeling a certain type of way, you sit down, you can wallow in it, and you can wallow in it for hours. I've done that. I've been there myself, and like, I know if I'm busy, I'm motivated. Even if I'm just out walking, like I said, I've just gone walking and not stopped for hours. I know at that point I've got a task to do, and once I complete that task, I don't feel as shit as I did.
It's like me now, like, because like I have my kids, like I have them on a Tuesday night, I have them on Friday nights, Saturday nights. On a Monday, for example, I don't see anybody. So Mondays I work late from work. I work till 8 o'clock, so I can sit at my desk working from 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. When it comes to 8 o'clock, the worst thing for me, I'll just think to myself, I've just got to sit here now and just be on my own for another 4 hours before I go to bed. And it's like sometimes I'll finish work at 8 and I'll just be like, fuck it, I'm just going to go for a walk, and I'll go out for 2 hours and put some music on, and it clears my head. Do you know what I mean? So then I'm not sat, because I work in the same room that I sleep in essentially. So it can be quite tough sometimes to actually, I've not left this room for 2 days because all I've done is work, slept, you know. So I think sometimes it is just, you know, even if you just get out for half an hour and just go stick some music on, that's a real good thing for me as well. Or sometimes I'll just go in the car, go for a drive for half an hour, because playing music in my car, that is one of my favourite things. You know, if I'm on my own, stick my own music on. Sometimes I'll just go for a drive. I don't even know where I'm going to go. I'll just go there and go back again, and then that's it. I'm done. You know. But it's finding those little things that are healthy coping mechanisms to do that aren't going to bite you in the arse, moving forward, you know. Which I feel like I've done quite well over the last few years. But I know how difficult it can be to get to that stage, if that makes sense. So
see, one of the things that really helped me is, well, obviously I changed job from being in care, being inside. I now work in a cemetery. I'm a grave digger. So for me, being outside for 8 hours a day, sunshine, rain, whatever, seeing people, everybody's chilled, relaxed, it's fucking blown my mind how nice it is and how good it has done me. Just to, like, you get a couple of minutes and it's like you just have a look round and it's just like, it's peaceful, and it's like, and it fucking helps so much. You know, just getting out there and going to the gym for me, it's not, I'm not going to be fucking Arnie. I ain't lifting all the heavy weights anymore. I just do it because I get the little adrenaline from being in the gym. It's like, for me, it's, I'm in the gym, I'm doing my bit, I'm trying to improve myself, and for me, that makes me happy. You know? So it's little things like that. Like you say, you've got to find the right coping mechanisms that work for you, and they're not all the same for everybody. You just got to, you know, it may take a while, but you will eventually find them if you've got supportive people to keep you going, and, you know, to stay with you, and eventually you will find them.
One of the best things I did, I mean, I retired from playing rugby a couple of years back through injury. I got told I shouldn't play again, which I didn't take the advice a couple of times, ended up having a few more surgeries. And then eventually I took the advice, because I changed my jobs and I didn't get sick pay with a new job I was in. And I thought, if I get injured again and have to have an operation and I'm 8 weeks off work like last time, you know, it's not going to work. So I gave up playing. And then obviously when we separated last year, or year before last, it was end of February. Obviously the rugby season finished in April. So I went back, played. I was in a bit of a mess. I went back and played for a couple of games in March and April, and do you know what? I absolutely loved it. I mean, don't get me wrong, my body was in bits, but just having that, it's weird to say, but just getting smashed for 80 minutes,
Yeah.
it made me feel so much better. Like it made like the first time I got the ball and took the ball into contact and got hit and hit a scrum, I was like, this is fucking brilliant. I've missed this. But then last season I played 11 games last season, which trying to juggle childcare at weekends and playing was quite difficult. But
Yeah.
just being in that team environment again, being in the change room with the lads again, and having that feeling of playing and having a beer after, because beer always tastes better when you played a game of rugby, whether you win or lose, afterwards.
Yeah.
Sharp ties. Right, hold on. Right, come on, get out. He's deaf, so he can't hear himself, so he barks constantly. Come on.
Bless him.
Yeah, so having that outlet of going to the rugby club and just picking and choosing when I was going to play rugby and stuff like that massively helped me. To the point that this year I've decided to retire again because I've done it again, and it's to be honest, it's hard because I can't play every weekend because having the kids, especially playing in the position I play in the front row. You play 1 week and then you don't play for 2 weeks. Your body needs to condition to it.
Yeah.
So I was finding it difficult playing 1 week and then not playing, and I was a wreck for about a week, and then I play again, and then so it's hard to juggle it. But I'm in a better mind space than what I was this time last year.
Yeah.
I was going to say, 18 months ago when you did play, you got back into it and you started playing.
Yeah.
Were you doing that just to feel something, or just to sort of have that mental outlay?
I think I need it to have a release of some sort of energy, anger, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, because the first game I played, I hadn't played for a while, and I was 2 months into living in my brother's spare room at the time, and crying myself to sleep most nights and stuff like that. And it was one of them things that I thought, I need to go and do something that's gonna get out all this frustration, this anger, and this whatever else I've got. And I did that. I'd say the first game I played, it was like, I don't know, I've never taken any drugs before, but it was probably like taking drugs for the first time. And I don't know, the feeling I had, it was unreal. I felt 18 again as well. It's one of them. So then I played a couple more games and then played last year. But now, as I say, I'm in a much better place now. So I don't feel like I have to play this year. I'm 43 now. I don't want to put my body through that anymore. But I'm choosing to do that. Whereas where I retired last time, it was retirement because I got told I have to give up playing because of my injuries and whatever else. Whereas I'm in a good place now where I think I can choose. I've played for 37 years or whatever it's been, 35 years. I can choose now that my time's done. I don't want to play anymore. I'm not being told that I've got to give up. I'm saying it myself. And as I said to the lads at the rugby club, like, I'm not saying I'm never going to play rugby again, because it might be that there's a couple of vets games which are like over 35 games that I'll play next year. But I'm not committing to playing because I've been there and done it. I don't need to do it anymore. So
Yeah.
but no, I'm a big believer of positive, doing something positive to make you feel better. Like, one of the things I used to do when I went to the gym, I'm not a boxer, but I used to put the gloves on and just smash the shit out of bags, because again, it was one of them big releases of energy and frustration and whatever. Even when I was feeling good, even when I was, even when I didn't feel I was struggling with anything, I think just going and smashing the shit out of something, it just fucking helps sometimes, don't it?
It does.
And it keeps you out the pub, keeps you off things that you shouldn't be doing. And as you say, Mickey, like, we're not going to be Arnie, we're not going to be the world's strongest man or anything like that. But actually, in that time that we're in that gym and lifting the weights that we're doing, we feel like that, don't we? Do you know what I mean? And it makes you feel, I'm there, deadlifting 140 kgs or something. That's someone's warm up on the bench press over there, but I'm fucking buzzing because I've just done it, But
ego lifting. That's what it is.
Oh, exactly right. Yeah, I've done a few ego lifts in my time and hurt myself, and I thought I ain't doing that again.
But the thing is, now that we're, older and getting older, is that for me, the gym's always been a massive part of me. So
Yeah.
lifting more than I could handle. And if I was
Yeah.
at the gym with people, it was kind of like, well, do you know what? There's people here, so I need to lift more. And it was only when I went through a couple of little funks myself, where I was actually spending time on myself in the gym, that actually I wasn't doing it for other people. I was doing it for me, because pushing more, making myself hurt more, was making me give me that, just let everything out.
Yeah.
So that helped me massively. And it was only because I didn't want to talk about the things that were going on in my head. That was all it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I remember a few years back, I did, when was it? 2018, I think it was. I did the white collar boxing event.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the first session we had, the first training session we had. I think there was about 120 people there. And there was that many of us. We had to go to the crypts down the hospital, like the Trilogy place in the sports hall there. And we had a 2-hour session for the first session. I'm not even joking. It was the most horrific training I've ever done in my life. I was spewing and everything. Literally, we were doing this exercise where we'd have to do 10 burpees, shuttle run, 10 burpees, and literally just back and forward. And I'm not even joking. There was like a fire exit, and I think one of the shuttle runs, I just ran straight out the fire exit, spewed my guts up, and then carried on, finished the set. And I'll never forget getting home that night, and I walked in the house, and my ex-missus was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I'm going to make it." Right? And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I physically couldn't get up the stairs. I had to literally go on my bum up the stairs because my legs were fucked. But do you know what? When I woke up the following morning,
good feeling.
Although I felt dead. I thought to myself, I feel good. Like, I feel good. And obviously I did the whole thing. I did the 8 weeks training. I think there was 125 people that started. I mean, on the night there was 36 of us because everyone else just drops out because training's too hard and stuff like that. But I was determined. I was probably one of the heaviest I'd been doing that. I was probably about 19 stone when I did that. So I wasn't fit, but I knew I could put myself through it. You know what I mean? Like where I've played sport all my life, I knew I could put myself through it. And that boxing, oh God, the actual fight that I had, probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Honestly, it was. People always say, "Yeah, but you do it again, wouldn't you?" I'm like, no, I've done it once. I've retired. I don't need to do it again. I quite like boxing. I watch boxing all the time, but actually actively putting yourself in a ring and allowing somebody to punch you in the face for 6 minutes, it's not fun, I'll tell you. But as I say, like I put my body through it, and as I say, the mornings I woke up absolutely feeling like absolute shit, but actually it's some sort of achievement as well. It's strange, isn't it? Strange how the mind works.
Absolutely, big time.
Yeah. So just finishing off, you mentioned earlier that you went to Ibiza with the lads. I think that is a great thing that should be in every male's group of friends. It doesn't have to be Ibiza. It could be, I don't know, the next town or something. Just have a day out, even just somewhere for a whole day where all the lads get together, talk about your problems, have a laugh, let it all out. And I think women do it all the time. Men not so much. Men do it sometimes with their one mate or whatever, because men don't have a lot of mates, really, do they? If you think about it, their circle's always very small, whereas women have all their fake friends that, oh yes, I love you, fucking bitch. They don't really. Whereas men are a bit honest. It's like if you don't. For me personally, I have lots of friends through ghost hunting who are called true friends. And Niall's very close to me as well. But I think as you grow older, you see the bullshit. I've seen the bullshit anyway, and I think I just don't want that. I don't want the drama. Mm-hmm. I want someone to be nice to me, to respect me, be a good person, and that's all I'm asking for. And I think that's what men are looking for. Someone to help them when they need it. And like you say, for them to notice the problems when maybe they don't see it themselves. And
Yeah, 100%. And this was something we spoke about when we were in IB. You know, as I say, there was 8 of us, and I said to the lads on the first day, I said, "Can you remember last time we did this sort of thing?" And they were like, "Probably your stag do." And I was like, "Yeah, that was 2014." You know,
that's what I
you know,
mean.
it's like, oh yeah, shit, yeah, it is. You know, I think stereotypically, you know, what you've said there is spot on, and you think like I think there's some crazy stats out there about men and how many friends people, you know, stereotypical people men have got of friends, and a
Yeah.
lot of people. I think there was a study to say that, you know, a big percentage of men said that they haven't got friends and things like that, and it's sad to hear those stats. I mean, I think I'm in a good position in the fact that, you know, for 30 odd years I've played rugby and I've got
Yeah.
so many friends through rugby
I
and
think
whatever else.
that's really good. Yeah. So sport
Yeah,
being part of a community, gym,
yeah,
rugby,
yeah,
football,
yeah,
anything.
yeah. But there's many men out there that, as you say, have probably got 1 or 2 friends that they can call on if that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't remember. I was talking to somebody a couple of months back, and we were having this exact conversation about, you know, men not spending time together, and, you know, not having a, you know, as you say, girly weekend away, as it's called a lot of the
Yeah.
time. You know, just having that, as you say, one night out or a couple of nights out with the lads, or, you know, as we did, a 5-day stag do or whatever else. But we said when we were there, we need to make an effort. Like the 8 of us that are here, we need to make an effort to do this regular. You know, not necessarily go to IB for 5 days, but maybe just go and have a beer together for a couple of hours. Get out and
Yeah.
chat some shit for a couple of
It's
hours. You know,
anything.
because
It's anything.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
some blokes used to sit and, you know, play FIFA or whatever for a couple of hours with their mates.
yeah,
That in itself is an outlet, isn't it? You know, it's an outlet of
yeah,
escaping what might be your reality. Like, you know, like I said, a lot of us have got kids. You know, you've got families, you've got kids. You can't just fuck off and do what you want to do.
no,
And I think that's the hardest part. And that's another thing as well that males, I think I feel it for certain, is that my life is planned out for me. I've got work
hmm
through the day. I've got kids to pick up. I've got to put them to bed. I've got to cook dinner. I've got to do the washing and do all that sort of stuff.
hmm
And then the weekend comes, and then you've got to plan activities for kids. And then
yeah,
that's Saturday and Sunday done with, and then it's back to Monday. And that pattern, and I always go, I haven't got time. And
yeah,
the problem is, I have to make time within that time to do things for myself, like me
Like
and
this.
Mickey do once a week. We do
yeah,
this, like, you know, I'll go on the treadmill for a couple of hours. I'll do some kettlebells in the garden. I might go to the
yeah,
gym once a week. You have to find the time. You have to do it, because
yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't, you will swallow yourself. And it's so easy
yeah,
for a bloke to. I think that's another thing, is that young men that get into families, they buy a house, you know, they've got a missus, they want to get, you know, then they've got to get married, then they might have children, and whatever way around they do it. But all of a sudden, they went from being this carefree, happy, going on rugby tours or whatever, and then
yeah,
all of a sudden, they're at home watching Coronation Street, a fucking show they
Henpecked.
yeah,
cannot stand.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Wanking in the
and you,
shower.
yeah, yeah. No, but you're spot on. You're spot on with exactly what you just said there. And I'll give you an example of where, not wank. I'm not going to give you the example of wanking in the shower, but so again, I was with my missus for 14 years, right? Last year was the first year I went on. So every year for the last 10, or this year will be 10 years, my rugby club have gone to, I think it's Reading Abbey Rugby Club, and it's called the Fat Bloke Sevens Festival. And every year for the last 9 years, my rugby club have had a team or a squad that have gone. It's not serious. It is what it is. It's Fat Bloke Sevens, so it's basically a piss up for 2 days, and you have a sevens tournament on the Saturday. Last year was the first year I'd been to it. Obviously, me and my missus had split up. I was single. I went on it because I was like, do you know what? I'm fucking going. Not that she ever stopped me doing anything like that, but as you say, you get into the routine of what you're doing. You're working. You got the kids. You got this. You got that. You got this. So I think every time the tour come up, I'll be like, oh, no, I ain't got time to do that. We've got so and so that weekend or so and so that weekend. Whereas, as I say, like I could have easily have gone every year if I'd have found that time to do it. But I say it's not like my missus ever stopped me from doing anything. But I think subconsciously, as a bloke, you're like, well, no, I can't do that because of this, that, and the other. You know. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we just need to. I think we're all guilty of it, of not giving ourselves enough time to do our own stuff and spend time on ourselves. I think that's the big thing, isn't it? That's the big thing that every bloke probably needs to improve on, to be honest.
100%. Perfect. Man,
But yeah,
I think the more you talk about mental health, the more you realise that it's out there. It's in front of your face everywhere, isn't it?
Honestly, yeah. And this is the thing with me. Like, I was always convinced that I've never had any mental health problems. I'm fine. I've always been solid and whatever. And the more I've done on it, the more I've realised, actually, over the years, I probably have struggled quite a lot. You know, and that's it. You know, and it's one of them things that, you know, back when, you know, we're talking back when in our 20s, you never spoke about. So it was just a case of it didn't exist. You know,
no, didn't.
And that's one of the things that I like. You know, that's why I like to push it as much as I can, because I'd like to think that my cousin, if he was going through what he went through 22 years ago, because of the way the world is now, he might have spoke about it and not done what he done. Do you know what I mean? But in 2003, if you're feeling suicidal, you just go and do it, don't you? That's the thing, because it's not a thing that you see about, that you can talk about or anything like that. So I always say to myself, no. And that's one of the big drivers in me that you know, I want to keep talking about it for as long as I can, because I'd like to think if he was around now, he'd come to me and say, I'm feeling like this. You know, you never know, you just don't know. But yeah, it's something that, as you say, mental health. You know, whether it's good mental health, bad mental health, everyone's got some sort of mental health about them. It's just, as you say, how you cope with that yourself, and what coping mechanisms you've got and stuff like that, how you get through it. But yeah, I think I was a bit naive myself in regards to my own until a couple of years ago, when I was talking to somebody about something, and it sort of just light bulb moment in my head, thinking, sounds like we're talking about me here about 10 years ago. Like, you know, but yeah.
You don't see the signs, do you?
No. And I say it's one of them things that, you know, it's part of life. At the end of the day, it's part of life, so it shouldn't be a stigma around it that you can't talk about it. There shouldn't be, you know, stigma around it that actually it makes me weak if I talk how I'm struggling. It's not, because everybody, if you get 100 people in the room, everybody will tell you the same thing, and everyone will have that in common. So it's like, why isn't it normal? You know, why isn't it a normal thing? You know, I think it's getting better, but still a long way to go, I think. So,
of course, absolutely. I think it's going to be an ongoing thing for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, 100%. I think it will be. But if we can crack and break down those barriers a little bit at a time, and you know, do what we can do as blokes, you know, to support each other and support the people around us and stuff like that, we'll just make it easier for us, and then hopefully, you know, the message will spread far and wide, and it will get easier in time, you know, moving forward. But it's it's one of them, isn't it? So
little steps.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, guys, let's wrap it up there. And Stu, I want to say a massive thanks for coming on tonight. And it's,
no problem. You know, it's been a pleasure.
I think it's been insightful to obviously see it from another person's point of view. Again, another bloke that actually feels the way that other blokes do is normality. You know what I mean? And that's why
exactly.
The more that we can push that, the better. Perfect. Stu, actually, your channel,
TikTok.
where can people find you? What's your handle?
So it's StuH82.
You got that, people. So you want to go and see some more of Stu's content, go and check it out. And I'll put the link in the description. 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 And I'll put the link in the descri
I have changed my name. I used to be Gooner Stew. That's what I used to be on there. And then I changed it just to my normal name. But then my kids were moaning that their friends were finding me on TikTok and taking the piss out of her and stuff like that. So I changed it to Stu H82. So hopefully none of them can find it. But yeah, you know what happens when you get teenage daughters. Oh, Dad, you're so embarrassing. What are you doing that for? Like, yeah. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow me on TikTok, I'd more than welcome the following. And yeah, a lot of my content's about mental health stuff. I do some other bits and bobs as well. So just starting back in the gym as well. Normally document what I'm doing in the gym, so that will be going on there as well. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow, just feel free.
Awesome.
Sweet. Well, guys, on that note, thanks for joining us on another episode of Dads, Lads and Kebabs. See you next week. Deuces. Well, fuck off.
See you later.
Laters.